Hello, 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 aloha. This is Barbara Cole Salmeron, and welcome to episode 1, our coronavirus isolation relationship advice. Thank you for joining me here today. And I am live broadcasting this on my YouTube channel as well as in my Facebook group. So wherever you're tuning in from, thank you, thank you. And we've got some great questions. So this is a thing I'm going to be doing on Tuesdays at noon Central Time. So just adjust for your time zone. Okay, I'm in Texas, y'all. So right now it's noon. And Tuesday tips for Rockin relationships. That's what we're doing. So I want to just thank you for being here. All right, we've got some awesome questions to go into. I just want to let you know a little bit about me because I was a hot mess when it came to relationships. I was experiencing an entire decade of short, failed, painful relationships. And when I say short, I mean like 3 or 4 months. And then I would just decide he's not the right guy for me. And I'd break up with him, usually blindsiding him because he didn't know there was anything wrong, right? So, I'd blindside him, break up with him. I wasn't good at asking for my needs back then. I didn't even know how to figure out what my needs were, especially in the context of relationship. So here we are. So I was a hot mess, and there was a pattern that was developing over this 10 years. I'm a quick learner, right? It only took me 10 years to figure out that there was something that I was doing that was bringing out the worst in these guys because they're all nice guys, right? So if any of my ex-boyfriends are watching, I apologize. Thank you. They were all nice guys, but there was something that I was doing that was bringing out the worst in them. So I realized this was happening, and there was something else that was happening consistently. Ladies, you might identify with this. Men, you might you might recognize this in some of your relationships. I was consistently becoming the masculine or the mommy in my romantic relationships with men. And I did not want to be either of those things. I didn't want to be the masculine or the mommy in my relationship with my honey, right? But that was consistently happening. Okay. So I knew there was something that I was doing that was creating this result. So it was a decade. And then I studied with my mentor. I found my mentor. This was back in 2014. Her name is Allison Armstrong. Some of the things I talk about, you will sound familiar if you have ever studied with her. Don't sweat it. I am a licensed certified partner with PAX with Allison Armstrong. I am licensed and certified to teach this material and to share it. And it made such a difference in my life from the very first workshop I took with her. And now I get to teach my workshops based on her material and including my research. So this material has made such a difference in my life that the very next relationship I got into after one weekend workshop is the relationship that I'm still in. And it's that photo in the background. Can you see that there? It's with my husband. We've been together coming up on 4.5 years now. Remember, all my other relationships were 3 to 4 months, right? 4.5 years. And it really is hashtag honeymoon forever. You know, he feels respected and appreciated and honored. And I feel loved and cherished and acknowledged and seen and appreciated. I mean, it's fantastic. So I'm so passionate about this. I started my journey to get certified and licensed to teach this material in January of 2018. And my certification will complete next month, which is at the time of this recording, May 2020. So it's been a 2.5-year journey just to get certified in all of this. And I teach lots of classes on this stuff, and there's books coming soon and all that. But what we're doing here, so this is this thing I'm doing. I'm going to answer some questions. I've got some great questions that came in. Thank you very much. So if you want to submit questions, then you can go to my website right here, empoweredrelationships.org, and then click on events. And just click on any of the Tuesday events. Right now I'm scheduled for the next 4 Tuesdays, but I think this is going to be fun. I'm already having fun, so I think we'll continue this for a while. So click on there, and in the event description, you will see the link. It'll say step 1. There's the link where you can submit your questions. You don't need to give me an email address. I don't need your name. It's totally confidential. So you'll see how I handle these questions without breaking confidentiality. That's very important for me with my students, my coaching clients, my friends, and I've got a mix in here of the questions today on my little spreadsheet. So very excited, very excited. Let me get me some coffee. I got the coronavirus hair going on today, by the way. So if you got the coronavirus pajamas on and the uncut, unwashed hair, thumbs up, man. If you're watching in Facebook, feel free to comment, give me a thumbs up. I probably won't see it until after the video. Same with YouTube, but feel free to do that thumbs up, do that subscribe. It's so important to me. I just love bringing this material to you. And after the broadcast, I'll go answer all the questions and such. Okay. Or maybe I'll try to look at my phone and see, if there's comments coming in. That's a lot of multitasking. I don't know. But let's just show you what we're doing here. Tuesday tips for rockin' relationships. All right. So let's get going. I need to be able to see here. Okay, I've got some great questions. I do in my, sorry about the glare, see that? I am not a professional video producer at all, but I am a relationship expert. Through going through the fire. So yeah, you're gonna see the glare on my glasses and such, but we'll try to minimize that. Okay, so I do ask for demographic information when you submit a question. So I can just say, a woman in her 40s, mother of 2 in California asks this question, very basic, very generic. I forgot to ask for gender. So the first 2 questions, I don't even know if these are from men or women. The last 2, I know the people personally. They gave me their email address. You don't have to, that's optional. But I don't know the gender on the first 2 people. So I'm going to correct that in my little Google form. Okay. So the first question is from a 49-year-old person with 2 children, 1 grandchildren. They are a client success executive in Arizona, USA. Ooh, I used to live in Arizona for about half of my adult life thus far. So I got you, AZ. Okay. What are the keys to creating and sustaining romantic partnership? Oh man, this is so great. This is such a great question. Okay, the glare, sorry. So creating and sustaining romantic relationship. There's so many elements to a romantic relationship, right? Let me just start right off the bat by giving you my number 1 piece of advice. Number 1 piece of advice for relationships. All relationships, work, family, romance. You ready? Replace criticism with appreciation. This will change your relationships. Replace criticism with appreciation. I started doing that after my very first workshop with my mentor, and it is what has created my marriage. My marriage that is a level 15 on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? And he would say the same thing. My man feels appreciated. I never criticize him. I never make him wrong for something. If he forgets something at the grocery store, I don't bite his head off. I'm not saying that you do, However, the old me, oh man, the old me was under the common misconception that criticism would change a man. Ladies, we think that, don't we? Criticism will change a man. Not true. Not true. A man will take criticism or advice on board if you are a trusted source. This is one of the topics I teach about, trusted source, which means a trusted source for a man or for a woman in hunting mode like me. Hunting mode is when we are we're really focused and we're focused on producing a result and there's a deadline. Then a man or a woman's in hunting mode. Gathering mode is when there's no deadline and we're just communicating and talking and just spending time together at brunch and laughing. See the difference? Focused on producing a result, timelessness and connection with our dearest friends, right? Hunting mode, gathering mode. Okay, so when with a man or a woman in hunting mode, and I'm in hunting mode a lot, A trusted source is a person, an organization, a newspaper, a news station, some source that is consistent and that is congruent. And congruent means your actions and your words line up. If you're incongruent, you're not going to be a trusted source. Anyways, sometimes as women, we are not considered a trusted source with the men in our lives because we are very fluid. We are very flowing. We, rather than following facts, we follow our feelings because our feelings are very factual to us. It's a different experience for women than it is for men. It's all about the brain science. Don't get me going on the science. I love it. We'll talk about brain science. Like, men and women's brain structure is different from before we are born. Okay. So the problem is that we expect each other to act in a way that we would act, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. And that's expectation sets us up for disappointment, first of all. We can't expect men to behave like women and women to behave like men. We don't know that we're having these expectations. It's just what seems normal to us, right? So, sorry, I will go down rabbit holes, bunny trails. Here we go. Number one piece of relationship advice: replace criticism with appreciation. You can appreciate someone for anything. Thanks for taking the trash out, honey. I appreciate that. Or thanks for letting me know about that deadline on the work project. I would have missed it. You saved me. Little bits of appreciation. Make it be genuine, okay? Because men especially have a BS meter. Don't have it be disingenuous, okay? You can tell, women, we know this too. When someone's saying something and we get that feeling like, oh, maybe that's not quite right. That's our BS meter, right? Some people call it intuition. There's just this knowingness. So sincere appreciation. And if you practice this is a muscle that you're going to exercise, right? So if you're learning a language or a musical instrument, or if you're going to the gym, you're not going to do these things for one day and be totally fluent, right? That's ridiculous. This is something you're going to practice. You're going to build this muscle of appreciation. Just practice it anywhere you can. I don't care if you have to practice it with your cat or with your dog. Just get used to words of appreciation coming out of your mouth. Now, when you are wanting to criticize, instead, there are different ways to handle that. But I recommend not doing it. So when our human instincts come up, whenever we feel tension in the body, there's some kind of a survival instinct that is flaring up. And when you feel that tension, your body might be tense. You might be holding your breath a little bit. Just stop yourself, walk into a different room if you have to. Take a few deep breaths. These are normal human survival instincts. I teach about this. It is the foundation of every single one of my classes that I teach. This is normal. And it is not productive in creating and sustaining amazing relationships. So when you feel that instinct rising, tension, holding your breath, just talk yourself off the ledge, right? Nobody's going to die in this situation. Nobody's going to die if he's loading the dishwasher wrong, okay? It's okay. Take a few deep breaths, walk out of the room if you have to, and then do what the opposite of your instinct would have you do, right? So if your instinct is telling you to criticize him or to tell him he's not doing it right, that's a criticism. Unsolicited advice is received often as criticism. Oh man, I've made this mistake in my life for years when I thought I was giving people advice. Not received well if you haven't asked permission to give advice. So if your instinct is telling you to criticize him, tell him he's doing it wrong, show him how to do it right, do the opposite. Do the opposite of what your instinct is having you do. Touch him on the back or the shoulders and say, thank you so much for loading the dishwasher, honey, and walk out of the room. I'm telling you, this is number one. Guys, like if you would love this to be an everyday part of your life once or twice or 20 times a day, just receiving a little bit of appreciation or a little bit of acknowledgement for everything that you do. And hey, it works for women too, right? We ladies need to feel appreciated and acknowledged as well. It helps us to feel safe, and that will lead into one of our future questions here today about safety. Okay, let me finish answering this question. So again, what are the keys to creating and sustaining romantic partnership? Oh, such a good word. Partnership. That's what we're looking for. Partnership, right? The other piece is everybody needs to be getting their needs met. And there are ways to ask to get your needs met. Remember, like, criticism goes out the door. Start with appreciation, right? And, you know, we can ask to get our needs met by saying something like, you know, there's something that I need in order to help me feel happy or accomplish this or whatever. Here's what it would look like, XYZ, and here's what it would provide for me. Happiness. Ooh, the word happy is a big word, ladies. Use it. We don't use the word happy enough. Use it. So asking to get your needs met and being in partnership around that. And maybe your partner cannot meet all of your needs. And that's okay, because if it's truly a need for you, you are committed to getting that need met, whether that is with your partner or elsewhere. Okay, whether that's vacation time or downtime or financial stuff or whatever. Okay, we can't put all of our needs 100% on our partner. So I teach a whole class on this. I can't go into all the details in this recording. However, everybody getting their needs met will help us and our partner feel appreciated and loved and honored. That appreciation that we give, genuine appreciation, right? Authentic appreciation, has our partner want to do more for us. Test it out between now and next week, right? And then come back and mention in the comments, oh my gosh, I tested it and it worked. So this is not manipulation if it's sincere. Okay, it needs to be sincere appreciation. When our partner feels appreciated, especially for the little things, they want to do more for us. Think about how you feel when you feel appreciated, right? It works for all of us. It's just human kindness. We can't have too much kindness in the world, right? Kind is the new cool. So when everyone is getting their needs met, the relationship, the partnership can be sustained, it can flourish, it can thrive. We don't want to just survive, right? We want to thrive. Those needs include sex. I teach an entire class. It's called Orgasm versus Intimacy. And sex is a real need, especially for men. Men and women are different biologically, and that has to do with the testosterone. So men have 10 to 32 times the amount of testosterone that women have. Sex for men is a physical need for most men. So when you hear me say men this or women that, just know I'm saying most or in general. I'm not saying 100%. I will never claim that. For most men, sex is a need like food and air and water. Okay. So how do we make sure that we get our needs met? Have a conversation about it. And this can be kind of uncomfortable, but have a conversation about, if you had it all your way, what would that look like? How often? What time of day? Do you like morning sex? Do you like evening sex? How late is too late? You know, when we're all working and we're all busy, like there's too early for sex and there's too late in the evening for sex. So you got to catch me between these hours. You know, the store is only open between these hours or whatever. So have that conversation with your partner. What do they need? Ideally, if they could have it all their way, what would satisfy their needs? You know, and ladies, we think, oh, men will say they want sex every day. Not really. Or they might think that initially if they haven't gotten it in a few years, you know. But find out what their pattern and their schedule is, and you share with them what your pattern and your schedule is, and you stick to the pattern or the schedule for the person who needs it the most. Because sex is not about being in the mood. It is not about waiting for all the stars and the planets to align and the kids are out of the house and now I'm in the mood and I had a good day. And it is not about that. It is about meeting your partner's needs and your partner meeting your needs. Whew. And in my class, we go into like, guys, women don't always necessarily need or want an orgasm. It takes energy. It drains. There's like a bank account of oxytocin and it drains our oxytocin bank account sometimes. So sometimes we're happy to just give you what you need and give you a quickie. So anyways, just talk to your partner. What is right for them? What is right for you? This can be a fun conversation, you know? And if this hasn't been a safe place, if these conversations about needs because of criticism or because of arguments hasn't been a safe place, you really have to make it safe. Come from a place of curiosity, come from human spirit where you truly want to know what you can do to make your partner's life better and vice versa. You want to share with them, okay, what they can do. And just truly coming from that place. And if it hasn't been safe to talk about needs and things, then it might take a few times. You know, you might have to build that trust. Okay, so that's okay. Don't get frustrated if the first conversation doesn't go over well. Here's the other thing, especially with men. Men have a superpower we call single focus. This is also part of the foundation that I teach in every single class. It goes with hunting mode and gathering mode. So single focus for men, when he is focused on something else, that is not the time to try to have an important conversation. So schedule an appointment, you know, ask, and for women in hunting mode too, like, honey, I am doing a live stream right now on YouTube and Facebook. I'm sorry, I can't answer your questions right now, right? So schedule a time. Hey, honey, tonight at dinner, can we talk about something? Don't worry, you're not in trouble, right? Give them that reassurance because they're so used to being in trouble. Schedule a time to talk about it when he can turn his entire, or she can turn her entire focus onto you and that conversation. And then keep the details low. Oh, I'm giving away all of my tricks. Details flood a hunter. So if you're talking to a person in hunting mode, don't give paragraphs and paragraphs and pages of detail when you're talking. It's way too much. Get to the point. I challenge you to keep it to 3 sentences. 3 sentences. Boil it down. Practice with your girlfriends first if you have to. Practice over and over again. Pull out the important points. Boil it down. You will get a different result. So like I said about these episodes, you know, this is a different perspective. It's all based on the survival instincts of caveman and cavewoman back in the, we are modern day cave people. That's what we are. That's who we are. We're modern day cave people. And our survival instincts are neural pathways in our brain that run deep and wide, and we're not going to overcome those. And it's normal and it's okay. And when you feel that instinct rise up, take a few deep breaths, shift yourself into human spirit, a place of conscious choice, a place of curiosity, a place of partnership, and do the opposite of what instinct told you to do. Instinct's never going to go away. I don't know, even my most spiritual of spiritual friends still have the need for food, shelter, and protection if there's a tiger chasing them, okay? So it's not going to go away. So that's what we're talking about here with partnership. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Thank you for listening to that. The next person, again, I don't know if it's male or female. Let's take some coffee. Engineer in their mid-40s, married for over 17 years, 2 kids, young kids, elementary school age. And this is their question. Personal growth work didn't bring us together so much as illuminate the disconnectedness. How do I know when or if it's time to pull the plug on the relationship? Oh, this is such a great question. Personal growth work is powerful. And that's what this is. That's what, you know, this is personal growth work in the context of relationship. I've been doing personal growth work at this point. The year is 2020. I have been doing personal growth work and personal development for 20 years. and always learning, right? I'm a lifelong learner. I don't have it all figured out. Anyone that tells you that they know all the answers and they have nothing left to learn, run the other way. There's a freebie piece of advice. Run the other way. Gurus, forget about it. Forget about it. A true master knows that there is always more to learn. Okay. So the personal growth work is so beautiful. And it can illuminate divide in relationships. It can illuminate friction and incompatibilities. That can happen. You know, even when someone goes to couples counseling or couples coaching, I coach couples as well as individuals. Sometimes what we realize is, you know, we've had a great life, we've had our family, and now it's time to go our separate ways if we want different things in life, if we want to move a different direction. Now, that's not always easy to hear, right? That can be painful, and this can be a process. I'm not saying decide that on the first day. But sometimes that can be part of the realization. So if you go back to the first question in this video, replace criticism with appreciation, make sure everybody's getting their needs met. Wow, see what happens. See what happens. So starting to use these tools in changing the relationship a little bit. And even if the relationship still doesn't work out, if both people feel appreciated and loved and honored, even if the relationship, you know, is no longer, it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing. So practice this, you know, working on these tools. I teach lots of different partnership tools, but these ones are the big ones that we're talking about today. So practice that. And, you know, I'm a big advocate of therapy or coaching. And the reason for that is to have, especially instead of like airing your grievances on Facebook, like ladies, men hate that. Privacy and confidentiality is so important to men or to women in hunting mode. Like, do not air your personal relationship stuff on Facebook, right? That is the way to make a hunter shut down and not want to tell you anything, okay? So, but a third party, a confidential, educated third party who is neutral, right? That person's neutral. So when I'm the coach, or if somebody goes to see a therapist, ideally that coach or therapist would work with each individual separately and together. Some therapists do that, some therapists don't. I do that. I have to, if I'm working with a couple, I also need to speak to them separately. So it's safe for them to truly open up and say what they want to say rather than what their spouse wants them to say. Not good. So having that neutral, educated third party that can see where the misalignments is. Like, one of my strengths is I can almost see it visually. I can just feel it. I can tell when person A says something and person B receives something totally different. And I can see that communication did not land. It did not land. So it's so amazing, right? Communication, I mean, that's like communication 101, psychology 101, the sender and the receiver. Oh my gosh, there's so many misunderstandings. So much. So I can see that. And then when you have a coach or a therapist that can point that stuff out, wait a minute, maybe he didn't mean that, or maybe she didn't mean that as a criticism. Maybe she's trying to express one of her needs to you. And instead of, you know, bringing it across as you're not doing this, well, what would, if you had it all your way, what would you like him to do? And what would that look like? And what would that provide for you? So that helps. So that personal growth journey, I am a firm believer in personal growth. Be a lifelong learner. Keep learning about yourself. Keep studying yourself. There's lots of things out there that we can study, but it's our thoughts that create our emotions, and it's our thoughts and emotions that create our actions, and then our actions give us our results. So if you've ever worked with me, you know that it is all about self-responsibility. And the circumstances never create our results. Coronavirus is not creating my result. And I have a choice. I can think really poorly about what's going on right now, and I can get down and I can get sad. And you know what? The first couple of weeks, I was freaking out because I was reading the news nonstop. I was freaking out. And I was curled up in a ball and I couldn't get out of bed. And that, just be honest, right? And then I had to step away from the news a little bit. I still scan the headlines, but coronavirus does not dictate my results. It doesn't. And it doesn't dictate your results. So my thoughts around it dictate my emotions. And then it's my thoughts and my emotions that dictate my actions. Okay, am I going to continue exercising? Am I going to continue working in my business? Or am I just going to curl up into a ball and not do anything? You know, and sometimes I need that personally. Usually I call it a spa day. I go to the spa all day and do nothing. However, to stay stuck there is going to create a result that I wouldn't want with my business, with my relationship, with my own mental and emotional health. So point of this, be a lifelong learner. I'm a huge advocate of personal growth. And yeah, sometimes that is the result. So I would say work with the partnership tools of appreciation and helping each other feel honored and respected. Work with that, see what can come out of it, and then start to communicate. And communication is not dropping a hint. Ladies, men don't want hints. Men want direct communication. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of men on these various topics. They want you to tell it to them direct, but maybe preface it with, hey, I've got some feedback about something. Are you open to hearing it? Or, hey, there's something I need to talk to you about. It's important to me. When can we have 10 minutes to do that? And if you say 10 minutes, it's got to be 10 minutes. If it's going to be 45 minutes, then say that, right? You got to be congruent in order to be a trusted source. Your words and your actions need to match. Not just you, me too, right? Whew, okay. So I hope that you can both continue your personal growth journey, work with each other, start to communicate, start to really communicate. If she had it all her way, what would life look like? At home, at work, where would you live? What school would the kids go to? If he had it all his way, what would life look like? Okay. And then see where you can come together. I can tell you, years ago, I had a friend who was in her early 30s and desperately wanted to get married and have kids. Just that was it, right? Women, you know what I'm talking about sometimes. Baby on the brain. That's all we can think about in our 30s. Sometimes, some of us. And this friend of mine desperately, and she was dating a man whose job kept him traveling the world all the time. So it was already long distance. They hardly ever saw each other. And he knew he was never getting married. He did not believe in marriage. He was never getting married, and he sure as heck was never having kids. And I said to her one day, what are you doing? She said, but I love him. Of course you love him. He's a great guy, but you can't give that up for anyone. If you want kids, you have to find someone who's moving in the same direction as you. If you want to get married, you can't give those things up. If that is truly what you want, and there's work that we can do to figure out, drill down. I had to do that when I met my husband. He didn't plan on ever getting married again. And I knew that I was not going to be a lifetime girlfriend. And I had to really drill down on why it was important to me, what marriage meant to me. And I'm divorced and he's divorced, right? So I had to drill down on why it was important to me, and it was. And I wanted to marry him. And if he didn't want to get married, then at about the 2-year mark, there would be a decision that had to be made. Because if we weren't going the same direction, how was that relationship going to work? So with my friend, I just said, yes, he's a great guy. I know you love him, but he doesn't want kids. He doesn't want to get married. You never see him because he's traveling the world 90% of the time. Like, what are you doing? And she processed that. And then shortly after that, they broke up. I'm a great relationship coach, right? I'll coach you right into a breakup. If it's no, you will make your own decisions. However, I will show you all the cards. That's what I do. And then her next relationship, an amazing guy who, married her and bought her a Mercedes, and they had kids, and she's so happy. It just like she got everything that she wanted. Sometimes when we're hanging on to something because it's like good enough. Have you heard of the book, Good is the Enemy of Great? When we're hanging on to something that is good, we're not available to receive great. Okay. Because our hands are already like if you wanted to give me a solid gold block bar right now, I couldn't even receive it right now. I would go like this, like, heck yeah, give it to me. Let me set this down. But sometimes we have to let go of something that might be good, that we might love. But if it's not great, if it's not in the highest and best interest of everyone involved, then you got to look at that. And this takes time. We're talking here about a over 17-year relationship. So this is not an overnight decision. This is conversations and from a place of love. Because I know both of these people, I'm sure, love each other and want the best for each other. It's tough. I hope that helps. Okay. But I am a fan of personal growth because you find out who you are and what you need and follow that. That's okay. Okay. Third question. We have 4 questions today. Third question. I love this one. This is from a friend of mine who is a singer-songwriter, travels the world. She's like kind of famous. I'm not going to say her name because I'm big on confidentiality, but she's a coaching client and she's a friend and she's kind of famous. So I love her. She's amazing. She asks, can a woman's level of feeling safe affect whether or not she can laugh at his jokes in a romantic relationship? So I love this because safety, this is another subtopic that I teach in one of my other topics. It's called the dimensions of safety. And I teach it in my class that is called Facts versus Feelings, Respect versus Appreciation, something like that. I think that's what it's called. And so we talk about these dimensions of safety. Maybe sometime I'll do a video of the dimensions of safety. So men, when you hear the word safety, what do you think? Physical safety, right? Like, is there somebody attacking me right now? Am I physically safe in this environment? But that's not it. That's not the only, that's very surface. That's very like on the conscious level. But we know there are so many levels below the conscious level. Safety for a woman includes financial safety. And wow, this can, when we're in that human normal instinct, that survival instinct that rises up, we call that like kind of the inner cave woman or the inner caveman, because it's normal. It's not about right or wrong. It's just normal. It's what's kept us alive for thousands of years. But when that inner cave woman comes up, when there's financial insecurity, man, it is like, it causes a lot of instability for women, a lot of fear, and a lack of a feeling of safety. Okay, so there's financial safety, there's emotional and mental safety. So does she feel acknowledged and heard with the group that she's with? Does she feel safe in sharing and speaking up? Or does she want to be quiet because she's intimidated with this group of intellectuals she's with? That can bleed into mental safety. Is she appreciated or is she diminished? And same with guys. This is why guys shut down and don't talk to us, because we've violated the emotional safety. Now, they don't think of it in that terms. They think of safety in terms of like, I can kick anybody's butt. But if it's not safe for him to share with us, if he thinks we're going to use something against him, he won't share. I will come back to the question. I promise. So these dimensions of safety, there's even time safety, temporal safety. This used to be such a huge one for me. And that is like, when she looks at her calendar, is there any white space at all? Or is it all just appointment after appointment after appointment? I used to have what I call a time phobia. Like literally, I would get like, I don't have enough time. There's so much to do. I wouldn't even give myself, I would schedule appointments and not even give myself time to eat or time to drive between appointments. Like, I just didn't think about that. It was ridiculous. I don't do that anymore. Adrenal fatigue taught me a lesson. I will do a separate video on adrenal fatigue because ladies, it's real. It's real. I've recovered from it. It's not fun. It takes years to recover, but it takes years to get there too. So that temporal safety. So all of these dimensions of safety. If a woman doesn't feel safe emotionally, mentally, she has a hard time being at peace, happy, content, fulfilled within a relationship. So safety is like the borderline. If she doesn't have that, it's like the foundation underneath a house. If she doesn't feel safe in these different aspects, in who she's with, so in the context of a romantic relationship, if she doesn't feel like there's that emotional safety, she's not going to be able to fully experience and express joy and love and laughter and patience and all of the beautiful things that women in particular have a capacity to be. So when our tanks are full, imagine internal tanks. One is labeled patience, one is labeled love, one is labeled compassion. When those tanks are full, which means we're getting our needs met, then it spills over and we can be those qualities. So when my patience tank is full, it spills over and I can be so patient. I can be so patient with my honey or with my friends or with my boss, or well, I don't have a boss anymore, but I'm the boss. I can be patient with her. I need that sometimes. So we have that capacity, but when those tanks are empty, when we are exhausted, sick, tired, unhappy, feeling unsafe, safety is the foundation to this. It's like the foundation of a house. The house is going to fall down if you don't have that solid foundation underneath it. So that's why I love this question about safety, because it leads to everything else. So when those tanks are dry, our needs aren't getting met, maybe we're sick, or there's things going on. And when those tanks are dry, how much less capacity do we have to be patient, right? Or to be compassionate? When I am tired, in a bad mood, had a bad day, there are times when I'm supposed to maybe make a phone call or something that's important, and I realize I am not in the right mood to have a conversation with anyone because I just want to snap at people. I just stay by myself. I don't have conversations with people when I'm in that low of a mood. If I don't have the reservoirs of patience and compassion and loving, because sometimes, you know what, those tanks run dry. It's just like your car. If you don't fill it up, that tank is going to run dry. Okay. So being able to laugh at his jokes, that's interesting. That's very specific. I love you for asking this. Being able to laugh at his jokes, feeling safe. So I'm just going to go out on a branch here and imagine, like, if she doesn't feel emotionally or mentally safe, like appreciated and honored within this particular romantic relationship, almost anything he says coming out of his mouth is not going to be received very well, right? It's going to be like, that wasn't funny, or it's interesting about jokes. Like, again, it could be the reservoir of humor, right? Or the reservoir of joy. When that is overflowing, maybe then humor can spill out and we can just laugh at the funny things and laugh at the silly things. And he told a dad joke that you've heard 1,000 times before and it's not very funny, but you know what? You're so full of joy. You can just like laugh at that and appreciate him for it, compliment him for it, and go on your way, you know? Interesting. Dimensions of safety. It's more than just physical. Okay, we're doing the fourth question now. Thank you for hanging in. Comment if you're here. I love you. Okay, give me a like. Subscribe to my channel, please. I'm building my YouTube channel. So, all right, so I can bring you all this stuff. So the next question is from a man that asks, is online dating worth it? And I would say a resounding yes. Do you see that picture back there in the background? That is a result of online dating. I met my husband online. So I would say it works. And I was doing online dating for probably 9 or 10 years before we met. Remember that I had that decade of short, failed, painful relationships. It wasn't because of online dating, and it wasn't because of the men I was meeting. It was me doing something, mostly criticizing a lot, and producing the same result of these guys like walking on eggshells in the relationship with me. They couldn't do anything right. I had one boyfriend like who couldn't even give me directions to his house. This is back before we all had, smartphones and navigation and such, but the man couldn't even give me directions to his house. And I would just criticize him for that. So like it created fear, right? It created all this fear. So anyways, the online dating thing. Yes, online dating works. And if you find that you are consistently attracting a certain type of person that you don't want to attract, like he's just out of prison or he lives in his mom's basement or whatever, I know women that attract that consistently. Wow, that's like a whole nother class on the law of attraction or the beliefs that you have about the world, the beliefs that you have about dating, the beliefs that you have about yourself that is creating that same result again and again. So whether you call it vibration or frequency or law of attraction or just cause and effect, right? If I believe that all men are dogs, I am only going to see my brain out of all the billions of particles that we see every second, my brain can only filter so much. And so if I have that belief that men are dogs, then my brain is going to filter the particles, filter the instances, and that's all I'm going to see to confirm that my belief is right. You will always prove yourself right. Always. It is a survival instinct. It is one of the most urgent survival instincts, because if you're not right about something, you're going to die. That is what our survival brain tells us. Now we can shift into human spirit and think about conscious choice, and we can know, okay, I'm not going to die. However, our survival brain tells us that we will. So your brain will always find evidence for what you believe. So if you're attracting the same person over and over again, that's a drama queen or he's a jerk or whatever, then you got to take a look at what your beliefs are, because remember, the circumstances never create your results. It is your thoughts which create your feelings and emotions. That creates your actions and your results. Never the circumstance. Never Match.com. It's you. It's the inner work. And that's why I'm saying, like, always be a lifetime learner, because there's always so much to learn about you here and here. The subconscious mind is far superior to or grander than, bigger than the conscious mind. And it's the captain at the helm of the boat. It's who's driving the boat. And it's subconscious and it's on autopilot. And it's running the show. And it has to do with our beliefs. Okay. So online dating, does online dating work? It absolutely works. Lots of people meet online. And here's why I started online dating. I think it was back in 2006 or 2007. I was attending services at a spiritual center, but everyone there was like already married or was 100 years old. I was in my late 20s, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to do the math. Not right now. So everybody was already married or old. I wasn't going to date anybody that I worked with, right? That's uncomfortable in this day and age. That's weird. You don't want to really do that. And I didn't want to go hang out at bars to meet people. That didn't excite me. Now we've got meetup.com. So here's what you do in addition to online dating. So online dating is a tool for you to be able to meet people that you normally wouldn't meet. It could be somebody 3 blocks over in your neighborhood that you've never met, and you can meet them online, whether it's through a Facebook group. Now, don't be creepy and be trying to, like, guys, when women get messages like, hi, how are you? You're so beautiful. I want to date you. When we get those messages on Facebook, it's like, yeah, I'm married and my profile says that, and I'm not here to date. Like, don't approach me like that. So don't use Facebook or that kind of thing as a way to stalk people. Not good. But we do have things like meetup.com. If you don't like the dating, online dating thing, we've got meetup.com. So go do the things that you love to do. Do the things that you love to do, and there will be other people there also doing the things that you love to do. I learned about this years ago, and it truly works. It truly works. So do the things that you want to do out there in the world when we're allowed to again. after the coronavirus isolation phase is over, and meet people who have those same interests. Okay, wine tasting, hiking, go to the dog park, right? Just like that's a great way to meet people. But this question is about online dating. So I will tell you that online dating is very different, a very different experience for men versus women. So guys, a woman, especially an attractive woman with a photograph up there of just her face, she's pretty and she's got her photo up there. We get inundated with messages. And I'll tell you from my experience, I tried to answer all of those. I would go and I would read the profile. I would see if there's anything that I have in common. I was very specific in my profile and I was very into certain things. And I knew that, there's a small percentage of the population that would really be a fit for me and my interests and where I was growing, right? Where I'm going and growing. I need to have a partner who's growing with me. And so, I could tell by looking at some profiles if there was, not a connection. And I would respond to every single message with, thank you for messaging me. I really appreciate it. And I don't think that we have much in common or we don't enjoy the same things. So thank you very much. I wish you luck. I wish you all the best. And then some of those men would come back like really mad and angry and maybe rightfully so. I think I would handle online dating differently today than I did back then. But my point is, guys, women get inundated with all the messages. And so it really, it becomes a full-time job, no kidding, to try to respond to every message. It really does. And it's hard. It's hard to do. So eventually we just kind of give up and we don't respond to the people that we're not interested in. Now, ladies, men have a very different experience. They send out messages. They're truly interested. They send out messages. They want to get to know you and they receive very few messages back. Most of them. This is a generalization, of course, right? So that's typically how it goes on the online dating sites. So it's a very different experience for men and women. And I would say in your online dating profile, list your interests, list the things that you're interested in, and read the other person's profile. Sometimes men are guilty of seeing a pretty photo and sending a message without even looking at the profile. Well, they do that sometimes because we put way too much detail, right? And they get overwhelmed and flooded by the detail. So less detail, ladies, but, talk about what you're interested in. What are your passions? Do you have a dog? Do you love to bake or travel or, what are those passions? And guys, we want to hear that from you too. Don't just type in one sentence, here to see if this works. That tells us nothing about you. And the picture of you in your car or in the bathroom, don't take your shirt off and take a picture. Don't do that. Give us pictures of you out having fun, being a normal person, right? People don't take their shirt off in public restrooms and take pictures themselves. It's weird. It's weird. Don't do it. So online dating does work. It can be exhausting. Sometimes you have to take a break from it. But again, you got to examine where your beliefs are coming from. If it's, this sucks, this isn't going to work for me, I'm never going to meet somebody, you're right. You're right. And maybe it's time to just take a break. Take a break from it, sign off a week, maybe go to the spa, take some time. And, and then come back when you can change your belief about it. Every time I had a relationship end, maybe not every time, but eventually through my personal growth work, my last several years of dating, when a relationship would end, of course there'd be disappointment there. He wasn't the one. But what I told myself and what I truly believed is it didn't work out, even though he was a great guy. That means there is somebody even more perfect for me, waiting for me right around the corner. And I really believed that. And it happened. And it's amazing. So when you can believe that, I know it's discouraging when you go on dates, date after date after date, and nothing's working out. I will say, go on 2 dates. Give everybody 2 dates, unless you feel completely physically unsafe. Go on 2 dates. Because during the first date, the person might feel nervous. They're not being themselves. They're trying to impress you. If they're trying to impress you, it's because they like you. Like, don't see it as arrogance. See it as like, wow, he thinks I'm somebody worth impressing, right? Or vice versa. But guys, I don't know. There's lots to talk about with dating. I'll probably do a separate class all on that at some point. But think about, if you can, give everybody 2 dates, and maybe that second date, or maybe even the first date, in a public place, of course, safety, 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 but maybe go for a hike, be doing a walk, go for a walk on a trail, go to a park, make it, if you can add something physical to it, it doesn't have to be too tiring or anything, but it just takes the awkwardness away from just sitting across the table and trying to get to know each other for the first time. You can just walk and talk, it's beautiful. So I recommend that for online dating. Let everybody have 2 dates, and because the first time they might be nervous and such. And yeah, I'd love to hear more about what you have to say about online dating. But if you're attracting the same person over and over again that you don't want, check your beliefs. It's all BS, right? We call it BS for short. Belief systems, that kind of BS. If you're feeling frustrated with online dating, don't put that energy out there. Take a break from it. Yeah, we're going to date lots of people. Like it's okay to go on lots of dates and go, no, not the right one, not the right one, not the right one. And then find someone interesting. That's okay. That's normal. There's more than just one right person for you. I teach a class on that too. The fantasy or the illusion of soulmate or the one or happily ever after. I teach a whole class on that. So don't think that out of 8.2 billion people in the world that there's only one. There's so many. So have that belief. Oh man, that my right person is right around the corner. That just any time now, and keep working on yourself, because when you're working on yourself, you're going to start to attract a different caliber of person. I have an amazing relationship and marriage right now because I had done, by that point, 16, 17 years of personal development on me. I was working on me. I'm a different person now than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Now I'm at 20 years of personal development. And I created this result of my relationship because of creating me, growing me. All right. So that is what I have for today. And go ahead and give us a thank you or a thumbs up. I just want to share this with you. So this is my Tuesday noon. It's Tuesday tips for relationships, Rockin' relationships. And this is my YouTube channel. It's not the channel, but this is where I would go live. So the YouTube channel is Empowered Relationships. And this is where I would go live. So feel free to watch there on Tuesdays and give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. If you prefer to watch on Facebook, I'm simulcasting with this amazing new software I've learned to use. So right now we're also on Facebook Live in my group. It's a private group, but it's free to join. Anybody can join. It's called Empowered Relationships to End the Battle. So you can go in Facebook, do a little search, Empowered Relationships to End the Battle, because I'm all about ending the battle of the sexes. So that's what we're doing here today. If you want the shortcut, if you want to know how to find where to submit your questions, I've just got a Google form. I don't need your name. I don't need your email address. Knowing your gender would help when I'm answering the questions. I'll add that to the survey. But this is the easiest way to find it. Either of my websites here, empoweredrelationships.org, and then click on events, and then go to the Tuesday and click on Tuesday. In the description, step 1 will be the link where you can submit your question, or my other website, barbarasalmeron.com, events, same deal. You'll see the calendar. It's not hard. All right. So thank you all so much for being here. I love this. I love this. I love talking about this. My goal is to provide illumination to help heal some of the hurts of your current or past relationships, and to provide some ahas, you know. So if you had any ahas with this, please feel free to share it in the comments if you feel so brave. And I will be back next Tuesday. It is my honor to be here with you and provide this for you. I love it, love it, love it. Speaking from experience, hot mess to happily ever after, which is an illusion, by the way. Yeah, I love it, love it. Okay, love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.